Ladies and gentlemen, we look a little different. We sound a little different. I thought I was already live. Um, got hair on my mic. This is what a new PC setup is supposed to do. Stop. I got my cat eating plastic. It's been hectic, man. Not only did I get this new PC, but it's already freaking broken, dude. It will not connect to the internet the way I want it to. It does not connect to my Ethernet, and my Wi-Fi is terrible. I don't know why. Like, not my actual Wi-Fi, just this Wi-Fi on this new computer. Anyway, so we have some topics to talk about for SoFi. Do we ever? So that is what is going to be up for the topic of discussion. Two main things. One, SoFi as a bank and where they rank. And then two, what are you guys talking about here? Oh, okay. And then two, what Anthony Noto said about the product development at SoFi Technologies, which I think is by far the biggest news today. I wanted to talk about that for SoFi investors. But tell me, drivers updated? Yeah, I mean, it looks like it. I checked the web. It says it's up to date. But yeah, it's dang awful. I wish it was an easy fix like that. But that being said, Nubank also ended up showing off earnings, and that was quite exciting because the here, let me just push this forward a little bit. Okay. I don't know why it looks so blurry over here. It honestly looks terrible. Maybe I have something. Yeah, this has been a nightmare going through this because my entire business runs on my computer, and it's like upending and moving to a new office. Like, everything is all messed up. There are things that are working that I can bring over from the cloud, and then there's other things that were saved locally. It's just terrible. It's just terrible. Okay, let me see what I can do really quickly about that spot. How does this sound, by the way? Because I had to redo all of my sound, and it's unwatchable now. Here, 1 second. This is unbelievable. Is that better? I turned the light on as well. Okay. It's driving me nuts, man. I got a whole bunch of stuff going on the other end where I've got like family stuff I'm doing, and yeah, I did not want to go live, but when Noto tweets, I respond. So let's get into it right now. Anthony Noto, like I said, ended up tweeting out that they are working on some new products and services coming out by year end, and actually some things that he talked about for Q1 of 2026 as well. Let's see. Oh, this is not even the one. That's great. Gotta love it. Everything's going the way I want it to. The links that I'm sharing are not the right ones. Anthony Noto. This guy ends up updating that the total return button was broken before. Now it's fixed. He's very happy about this. He said, "Thanks for sharing this feedback. Hear you loud and clear, and I'm sorry you had a bad experience with our bug reporting. We're hard at work to improve." Dude, I'm going to lose. God. Unbelievable. This cat, man. Just chewing. I cannot catch a break right now. It's unbelievable. You know those days where nothing is going right? That's today. Okay. Um, we're working hard to improve SoFi Invest and wanted to share with you some key updates that we have planned. Roadmaps are subject to change, but this gives you perspective on our plans to optimize the experience. All we needed, by the way. All we needed. I love the transparency here. I hope that they keep up this level of change over time. Uh, Make withdrawals from SoFi Invest to checking and savings accounts instant. Q3 delivery, it's in employee beta already, and we're increasing limits to 250,000 per day, 1 million per month. By the way, why would you ever do this if your customer balances are low? You know, you're only doing this if you have customers that do have $1 million to transfer per month. Absolutely great to see. And hopefully they continue to add on more customers like that by increasing these limits. Add to level or add level one options, which is probably the biggest one. It's already in employee beta, which is probably why the SoFi Insider is seeing that in the code. That's expected for Q3 or Q4, hopefully Q3. I mean, that means it literally could be a month away right now, or 6 weeks. Uh, Allow options trading in IRA Q4 delivery. Great. Allow for greater than 50K daily limit withdrawal Q4. Once again, attracting larger customer bases. That's very exciting as well. Organize orders under tabs such as pending, canceled, complete, and all, and add organizational filters targeting Q4 delivery. Just another one of those quality of life changes that no one's probably asking for all too much, but it would be a great add, but it's not make or breaking anyone's experience regardless. Rework display issues, layouts on stock detail pages for SoFi Invest, targeting Q4 once again, and add ability to click on the pending order and resubmit with a new price or share option amount, Q1 2026. That's very much a big one. I'm not a SoFi Invest user because I'm from Canada, but if I didn't have that ability, that would drive me nuts. So I could completely understand why that is in the list of things that they're working on immediately. And then the other ones that we start to get into are not as exciting, but still, um, fixing a push data on a position detail page, not updating. It's more bug fixes now, cost basis issues, fix pending orders. But we did end up seeing level one options, changes in limits, which are, going to be a really big deal for customers that have larger balances, which is who we want to attract, and options trading in IRA. So that is a very big one. My hope is that Anthony Noto doesn't just send this out from his personalized or like his personal X account. In fact, that he actually tells users or sorry, tells his employees at SoFi Invest that, hey, whenever you guys are working on something, you guys have a timeline for this. Tell the IR team, tell the social team, and let's get this out via press release. Let's get this out via X and do that on a monthly or biweekly basis. So uh Sodak Zach said, the company's name is Social Finance. And Noto is putting the name social into social finance. So he ended up putting that in the Discord earlier today. And yeah. Tanner, what are your thoughts on the Honest Company? I have zero thoughts on the Honest Company. Um, Level one options will be a very big deal. Not only for the actual amount of revenue that it ends up generating, but just keeping users on platform. I think that that's very exciting. Um, When's my OnlyFans? No OnlyFans. Whenever I ask for a new streaming service or like where I could cross stream to, which happened to be Twitch as well, I wasn't thinking for recommendations like OnlyFans. um, let's see. Uh, Yeah, deep breaths. Dude, I'm just you know what? It's just I can't always be that patient. It's just been a day of you know, they happen, right? And it's at the end of the week, so of course it happens. And yeah, it's just one of those days. I can't wait till it's over. The only thing that was good was Nubank's earnings yesterday. That was really exciting for the market, and the things that they did end up letting down, they made it very clear that, like, for example, payday loans, so secured lending on their side, um, although it was down on originations, it was down across the board, and it was like a nationwide issue. So they said, on a national level, their payday originations were down like 55%. I think new banks were down around 50%. So they were still taking market share, but obviously they were still greatly hurt. But they were taking market share. That's uh that's sort of the big thing there. Tanner, what new stocks are you buying? I haven't bought anything in the last few days. It's still the same ones that I was buying. So this week, I mean, it's been SoFi, Google, Amazon, that sort of thing. Tiny bits of SBET. Yeah. Um, I understand what options are. What is level 1? Must be other levels. Yeah. So, um, my very basic understanding of this, I'm no options expert, but the way that I've always thought about it was level 2 is more of the, uh, you know, writing of like buying of calls and puts, and then level 1 is the selling of those similar contracts, and then level 3 is extreme complex strategies, multi-leg options, stuff like this. But SoFi has level 2 right now, which is just, you're buying calls, you could get leaps, um, you can write puts on things, but not um, actually being able to sell those. Do you have the next yeah, there's no next SoFi or Hood. Like, those are the names, you know? I don't think that we need to look any further. I actually think that it's going to be, um, quite the opposite, that the idea of having a ton of fintechs is actually going to be a really old idea. I think that that's going to go away. I think the same way that we have a few or a list of very few mega cap banks, that's what's also going to happen in the fintech side. There's going to be a bunch of these companies that end up failing and slowing down growth and losing, and then the um, other ones are going to uh, buy up the technology of the ones that ended up failing. The companies with better management, better execution will end up doing better overall. Yeah, SBET. I've talked about SBET a few times now, but although I don't really play in a bunch of degen spaces, and I was not a fan of treasuries too much for the Bitcoin side, I do see it for Ethereum because it still yields, you know, um, essentially a dividend through proof of stake. So because those treasuries can make a little bit of money over time, I actually think that um, the multiple on them could be quite interesting. Plus, I do think that the world is tokenizing and going on the blockchain, so um, that will be something that I want to have part in. I've been a holder of cryptocurrencies for years now. It's just a matter of uh, how much. I actually don't think it is that degen, honestly. I mean, I've got a very long time frame for holding stocks. That's I guess a very important part to think about as well. And then you know, I I'm a big believer in the underlying technology. Like Ethereum I do have big belief in. I don't know. I'm not buying it for management. I'm not buying it for you know, well, I mean, some of it has to do with sentiment because I think that there's a lot of sentiment in Ethereum in general, but I think that it is very real that the all the talk in Ethereum right now is pushing real change, and that tokenization, uh, like because of the Genius Act and what will come through with the Clarity Act as well, like these are real um, changes in the regulatory environment, which will lead to more companies, um, you know, utilizing blockchain technology. SBET versus BMNR. See, that's where I don't. I might have gotten it wrong. I mean, to me, I wanted the one that has a cheaper multiple on net asset value. So I ended up betting on SBET because it was cheaper because the underlying, you know, asset, the Ethereum, I was getting more of at SBET, and they're still growing. No, I didn't just get SBET through Dookie Pie. I also got it on my own portfolio as well, not just the community fund. Did I see Drunken Miller's 13F? Yes, I sure did. But remember, that's Q2, right? So just because we saw it doesn't mean that they bought or sold after earnings. We really don't know. That's from a while ago. So, um, we're about 6 weeks out from whenever they had that. I'm sure Drunken Miller still does have it, but yeah. By the way, I think there's a real conversation for Stanley Druckenmiller to be the greatest investor of all time. Um, how hard will it be for SoFi to expand internationally? I think very hard. Hopefully, the I guess the hope is that Galileo and Technisys expand internationally first, and will help that process along for SoFi. But I do actually think that'll be a hard challenge. Um, yeah, Celsius. Yeah. Um, Did you hear about the Brewbank acquisition rumor? No, I have not. Expanding into Argentina does make a lot of sense, but I did not hear any acquisition rumors. That's really interesting. Let's see. Um, I'm not seeing too much on Newbank rumor. Newbank. Um, I'm not seeing anything here. Either way, though, that I mean, I don't think that's out of question. They've been acquiring like they have so much freaking money and such large growth aspects. I do think that that is in their future. It's just a matter of when they get into Argentina, not if. And I think when is getting closer and closer. Um, would be nice to get some SoFi crypto news already. Yeah, he didn't say that in the. I guess Anthony Noto didn't bring up crypto. I guess that's a little bit of a miss on the SoFi Invest side. Let's hope it's still plotted for Q4. Um, but yeah, that does worry me that maybe it gets pushed. Dude, I've said this 100 times. In no way. He literally, it's his words, and he spoke about product releases. He's just not here. It's, I don't know. How am I supposed, like, what do you want me to say? If I say so, Anthony Noto tweeted out, well, then no one is going, they're just going to go to his tweet. So there's some level of, um, you know, I'm telling the truth, but hey, come click on it to see what my opinion is. I'm already ready for Q3. I know, me too. Swear. Um, yeah. Yeah, I do think, if SBET is trading below MNAV, why not go heavy at these prices? I just also don't think that I want, a large position in this speculative of an asset. Things can change really quickly. I mean, I do like having a small position, and I feel comfortable with it. I really do. But there's like I don't know how to really explain it. Like, um my portfolio still needs to be built up of quality and with higher levels of reduced risk, you know? That I think is important. Um, is that some inverse Facebook what? Yeah, I don't know why this is happening. I did not, I don't think I changed anything. I just feel like this week has been, like, so many weird things that are happening to I'm getting faced with so many of these dumb things that are so hard to handle. And or just so hard to find solutions for, and they're not big issues, but they're just it's death by a thousand paper cuts this week. So excited for the weekend. Might actually touch grass. Um, yeah. So going back to Nubank, hopefully they do expand into Argentina. The one I really want to see is them expand into the U.S. Okay, and I think that um, Trump would actually enjoy that type of thing. You know, more products and services for the American people entering into America. I think that that's good. Um, and you would think, hey, there's not going to be a lot of customers that end up going from SoFi or Robinhood over to Nubank. But I think the part that people need to think about is the Hispanic population in America is absolutely huge. And a lot of those people are still underserved. And a lot of their family members and friends and all of these things are very well taken care of from Nubank. So I actually think the brand translates really well. And that's not even really my opinion of this. I was talking with former Nubank employees that also said very similar things. That they have eyes on this type of thing. Not that um, they'll be doing it anytime soon, but yeah, it is my hope. You guys have to remember with the 13 Fs, especially that's from June 30th. So if there's reports of companies showing that they have higher shares in a company, that's not going to be represented in the stock price today. And in fact, depending on the type of company, um, it might not even be bullish at all because if it's like a fund or a brokerage that ends up having multiple accounts that they have to say, hey, we own these, we own this many assets, but it's on behalf of our clients. It's not really bullish at all. Um, so yeah. Um, Argentina has a lot of problems with inflation. Yeah, but it's like it's still a new market. Although the you have to judge the growth in Mercado Libre differently depending on the growth that they're seeing in Brazil versus the growth that they're seeing in Argentina, you still like that growth, right? It's the customer that ends up paying for it regardless. So if you're doing fee-based practices like what Nubank does for most of its business, even its credit cards are mostly install base or install balances, then you set the price. They can decide if they want to pay and you adjust that for the inflation rate. So yeah, I don't even really think it's a problem at all. What's your thoughts on the MSCI addition? Positive. New computer. Good stuff. Um, what's your thoughts on the MSCI additions? They're positive. I think by August 26th, whenever we see those inflows come in, that they will be, um, it's good to see. It's not going to change the price all that dramatically. I mean, the big one is the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100 composite. Those are the ones that you want in. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's just because it's all the setting, it's everything like this. So I've disabled my buttons on my mouse, which enable to go back and forth because they're right where my thumb is. So that's all I did. I just hit the back button on my mouse. But like, why does that even exist? Especially whenever I'm streaming. Why would I want to leave a live stream? I cannot wait for artificial intelligence to make some more decisions and like, it's just think about it for a second. I'm freaking live. Time for a Mac. Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, I don't know. No, what I want to do is a bunch of Q&A. If you guys have new bank questions, SoFi questions, um, Nvidia questions, stuff like this, love to answer any of those. That's the one thing that I am excited about going live is like after my live stream is done, I'm more happy than whenever I got started. Like I love hanging out with you guys. It's so much fun. Um, but yeah, a coffee now would put your blood pressure to the moon. I'm drinking a Celsius as we speak, but maybe I need more water or something. Maybe I should do an early sauna. I got another stream after this at 10. And honestly, I don't know if I've got patience for Tevis and those guys. I mean, honestly, if it's just them streaming it, who knows? Tanner, ever thought of a Toronto meetup? All the time. It's just the logistics of it is a little complicated. And then also that I always get worried. Like, I mean, there's some degree of me where I'm like, let's imagine I host this and no one shows up. I'm like, I don't think that'll actually happen. I mean, based on what I'm seeing from Amit's channel, even, whenever he was a smaller account than I was today, there were a ton of people there. And even if you get, 25 people in a room, that's freaking crazy. Now, I think there was 160 people at the last one that I went to, and that was insane. Like, it was so much fun. Um, but it was a lot to set up for Amit, and I'm just trying to deal with a new computer. I don't know if I'm ready. I just hello. I have a question. Do you still recommend adding SoFi at this current price? And what do you see at the end of 2026 for SoFi prices? So, end of 2026. So this is all for me. Do I recommend adding SoFi? I don't recommend anything because like I don't know your income level. I don't know what percent SoFi makes up for your own portfolio. I don't know the size of your portfolio versus your, actual other assets or any debts. Like I don't know your situation at all. Okay. So I don't recommend anything. But the way that I'm looking at SoFi is I still am adding because I do think that over the next 4 quarters or so, which the end of 2026 actually allows for more time, more quarters of continuous execution, that we probably are somewhere north of $45 a share, maybe, yeah, I would probably place it somewhere around $45 a share. I think that we do see a double, and that's not even based on their metrics for management. I'm just purely saying that based on the level of growth that I think that they're going to accelerate, and if we see any amount of cuts over the next 6 months, that will really ramp up the amount of um, originations, which I think the market will love. Kendall's in the chat. We usually only see Kendall whenever we're doing earnings calls. Hello, holding exactly 9,000 shares, SoFi at $11.12 cost basis. Should I hold these shares long term or reduce this overweight position? Kendall, I don't know you really well other than your username in chat. Um, but uh, I think that there should be three reasons why someone trims a stock. You think it's overpriced? Overweight's always a hard place to be. For me, I let positions get very big, but I never want anything more than 50%. So that would be too big. I don't care what company it is. Um, However, there should really be three reasons for you to sell a stock. One, the thesis has changed. Two, it's there's something else that you would rather buy at those prices. And then three, you need the money for something else. I think number two and I'm missing one, I think. What are the yeah, there's a different stock that's 100%. The thesis has changed, which makes the multiple too expensive. And then yeah, some form of time horizon or something like this, but I guess that would fall under the first one as well. No, I'm 100% SoFi, I don't care. Hey, that's your world, man. Enjoy it. Um, I'm gonna hold. Cool. That's up to you. Yeah, just other expenses. People do need money, and that's why we're doing these stock purchases to begin with. The judge in a divorce court orders you to sell. That's very much a real uh, reason. We could see in your stock portfolio here that you're full porting SoFi. SoFi Technologies? What is this? Um, as a tech investor, I wanted to buy UNH for weeks, but ended up buying more Nvidia again and again. I don't think that's a problem. Are you saying that that's a poor thing? As a tech investor, you wanted to buy UNH? I mean, it sounds like you stuck to what you know. I think that's perfectly fine. Uh, I just joined. Should I back up on the SoFi news? Yeah, I would say so. There was a Noto tweet that said the full amount or the full releases of what they're expecting for new products and the timelines for each of those. Um, with hopefully level one options coming in Q3, which is in the quarter that we're in today. Um, Investing is a means to an end. The biggest portfolio number when you die shouldn't be the goal. It's to live a good life and use the money to allow freedom of time, enjoy experiences, etc. Yeah, I mean, some people do it for legacy. I mean, I think portfolios get to such a large size that you're not going to use it. So, um, you try to build it up for the families that come after you, but depends on if you value that type of thing. Sir, you were supposed to do research on Reddit. I know, and I got completely thrown. It's just, guys. This week I took an L. Okay. Um. Wow. Data driven investing ended up just posting a. Actually, he posted this a little bit ago, but showing off the institutional holdings for SoFi, which was going down there for a little bit, off of its highs, but now you could see what a massive spike to new all-time highs, and short interest is also falling off a cliff. And this is before, like he said, MSCI index inclusion. So that will force more institutional buying into SoFi Technologies. which also, like, whenever a company is in indexes, much harder to short. I mean, their ability to control or manipulate the amount of outstanding shares whenever you are in, like, the S&P 500, for example, extremely hard. Tanner, thoughts on TTD? Not worth the headache. No, thank you. If people want to go, you know, I think there are diamonds in the rough, and maybe that can be found on TTD. But um, for me, I get very worried with a few bad stories in a row on a company that also carries a very heavy multiple. Like, Duolingo stock is getting its butt kicked, and because it does carry that same similar very high multiple, but the earnings that it put up justified an expensive stock. TTD is not justifying those numbers, but still carries a very high multiple. So I want TTD, but yeah. Let's see here. Um, does Nubank have any more upside? I don't think the stock is anywhere near where it should be priced right now. The reason why it's lower is um, macro driven. That's temporary. The actual company um, has always exceeded its goals. By the way, its new long-term goal is to get 1 billion customers on its platform, which sounds insane, and it does sound insane. But if that ends up happening, um, or even on its way to it, and they get to 200 million, 300 million users, we're looking at the largest fintech in the world. And they do that by expanding into Africa, into the rest of LATAM, up into the America, or more North America. But yeah, TTD has been a rough ride for me these past few weeks. Yeah, I get you. I'm not investing too heavily in those names because I don't know them well enough. But I had a teaser position in there, and was building that out. But and even bought some on the dip of earnings. But the more I see and the more reports come out, and then the Walmart talk and stuff of losing that exclusivity, I'm just over it. Um, AMD is in the early innings of developing GPUs tailored for AI to be deployed at scale. Currently, they're getting $4 billion per quarter of a $50 billion plus market, asymmetric opportunity. I mean, um, a company that's in even second place in an extremely large total addressable market does not mean that they have any right to win any of that market. Okay. So they need to show up and one, show the products that are working, the software that backs those chips, find the suppliers, and like I just think AMD talks a really big game. And I'm very hopeful for them. And the guidance that they're putting up and what they're saying about their customers that will end up making larger and larger purchases into the future is all very exciting. Um, but I don't think that it means that it's a guarantee. I think it's one of those names like whenever I said, I believe that Nubank or Nvidia will get to 200 before AMD, and everyone was like, "How's that possible?" Nubank has to move more than the total size of AMD. AMD just has to add a couple tens of billions in order to get there. But you see from the difference in the growth on a per quarter basis, like the data center growth for Nvidia last quarter, I think was 70 plus percent, 78%, something like that. Um, and on AMD was 14%. So yeah, I don't know. They're doing well on the CPU side, but for real, it's what's gonna matter is those AI chips. Now, if they're for real and they do end up putting out great products, it'll be an amazing buy. Um, Tanner, do you know why my username JS24 doesn't show up when I'm commenting? No, I have no idea why this is happening. Um, yeah. I mean, that's not true at all, but I do I do like the sentiment. I mean, we have to think back that Nvidia was a gaming company for the longest time, and AMD definitely had a good run at you know putting up some good products. That was whenever people I think had a harder time distinguishing who was number one and who was number two. But yeah, um, it's showing your YouTube handle instead of YouTube name. Must be a setting for 10. I didn't change a thing. I don't know. I don't know. All right. What do you say we wrap? Huh? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for watching. Apologize for my attitude today. It's just one of those days where I'm just having, I'm just like trying to put things together. I'm lifting up the garbage bag. The bottom falls out. Everything's slipping out. People are cutting me off and try. It's just one of those days. Now, none of those examples actually happened today, but yeah. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll be back at 10 p.m. Bye for now.